You normally speak first.
Chair, we're live on YouTube. If you'd like to go ahead and start the meeting, please.
Thank you. Right, welcome to the meeting of the Rights of Way and Highway Licensing Panel on Wednesday, 18th of June. My name is Councillor Clive Baskerville and I will be chairing this meeting today. This meeting is being held in person via Zoom and streamed live to the public on YouTube. I remind all attendees that participation in the meeting indicates consent to the audio and video being streamed live and acknowledgement that after the meeting it will continue to be available in the public domain. We are not expecting the fire alarm to sound this evening. However, if it does, please may I ask that you leave in an orderly fashion and rendezvous across the road outside the library next to the fountain. Firstly, it would be useful if all voting members and officers could introduce themselves so that the public are aware of who is in this meeting and the role they are undertaking. So I've already mentioned who I am, and I'm also the vice chair, but Mandy's not here today, so I'm doing the honours. So over to the officer.
Thank you, Chair. My name's Jackie Wheeler. I'm the Parks and Countryside Access Officer for the borough.
I'm Simon Werner. I'm the leader of the council and a voting member on this panel.
Good evening. I'm Councillor Adam Burmange. I'm substitute voting member for the panel this evening.
Councillor Richard Coe, voting member of the panel.
Councillor George Blundell, voting member of the panel, and Councillor for Hurley and the Walthams.
Councillor Larkham, voting member of the panel.
Councillor Hill, voting member of the panel.
Councillor Hunt, voting member of the panel.
Oren Norris Brown, the Governments and Democratic Services Manager and clerk to the panel.
Thank you. I request that meeting participants do not speak unless I specifically invite you to do so. Once I've invited you to speak, before you do so, please state your name and the capacity in which you are speaking, if appropriate. I will also ask officers to speak at appropriate times. If any individual attempts to disrupt the meeting, I'm able to use my powers in the consultation to adjourn the meeting or have the individual removed. I would also like to remind councillors that to improve our time and effectiveness as a committee, I would ask you to please limit the repetition of points or questions which have already been raised by others. Where possible, please put forward all new points or questions which you would like raised during your request to speak. We will now start on the agenda items. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Yes, Chair. As mentioned, the Chair, Councillor Bra, is giving apologies and Councillor Burmange is substituting.
Thank you very much. Any declarations of interest?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a personal interest that's noted on my register of interests. I'm a member of the Open Spaces Society, which campaigns for a better public access to the countryside, but I come to the meeting with an open mind.
Thank you very much for that. Right. Now I've got the minutes of the previous meeting. I think most of you were here for that. Do we approve the minutes? And it's on April the 22nd, the meeting, and has a true and accurate record.
Yeah, great.
Great. Thank you. Can we sign that one then? Thank you. Right, so the main part of the business today is the Public Rights of Way milestone statement for the coming year, 25-26. And it's our job to approve it and make any comments, obviously, about it. So I think We'll hand over to the officer, Jackie Wheeler, who will introduce it. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you everyone for attending today. The panel meeting's been called to look at and ask you to approve the milestone. Sorry, Jackie, can you speak more into the microphone? Sorry. I think the chair's quite, yeah, is that better? Sorry. Hopefully that's better. Everyone can hear me now. Yeah, it's just to ask the panel to approve this annual review of the milestone statement and public rights of way improvement plan for 25-26. And we have appendix set out at appendix B sets out the actual milestone statement itself. And we also have appendix C, which shows the consultation responses which were received. I would just like to draw your attention to a couple of things on the actual milestone statement. So in comparison to the previous year, I think it's on page 42 of the actual document pack, if I'm right. Yeah, which is appendix 6 and which actually shows that the annual result for the best value performance indicator target, sorry, the target was 95% and the actual combined annual result for the previous year, 24-25, was 94.6%, which is up on our previous 23-24 result, which was only 90%. And so I just wanted to draw everyone's attention to that. That is the condition surveys that are undertaken by the Ramblers Association for us. And they do that every year, a spring and a summer, sorry, a spring and an autumn survey. And also just to draw your attention to the other results on appendix 6, which shows that we still managed to, we didn't manage to actually hit target on the WM2, but we did actually achieve 7, which was surface improvements, vegetation clearances. And with regards to the bridges, we managed to actually hit target on that, which was bridge repairs. And if you look on the next page, we managed to hit target with 3 leaflet updates and 1 strategic path improvement. It was improvement to Whitmore Lane, which I've got some photos of in the presentation. And then finally, AC2, which is physical access improvements, including replacement of stiles with gates or gaps to facilitate use by people with disabilities and people with pushchairs. Various things are on this list, which can be covered under that catch-all. So handrail replacements, gate repairs, step repairs, and we managed to hit 7 on that. I just wanted to let everyone know that the method of doing this annual review allows us the opportunity to go out to a consultation with the local access forum and the parish councils each year and ask for their opinions on the public rights of way in their areas, and also to ask if they have any ideas or any issues with the public rights of way service in general. So it's really an opportunity for us to understand and to find out, you know, if there are any improvements that people can see and how they're viewing it. It also helps us set out and confirmed the targets and priorities that we're working to or trying to work to. I don't think I have anything else at the moment, apart from the presentation.
You got a presentation, is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a short presentation just with some photos to highlight what's been done in terms of volunteering and works undertaken in 24-25. So this would be beginning of March, April 24, and then to the end of March 2025. And the first area to draw your attention to has always and continues to be a hotspot for fly tipping and litter. This is Bridleway over in Horton on the Horton-Colnbrook borough boundary. It's right behind the JFlex company who run the gravel extraction works over on Horton Road, their accesses. And so we got together, myself and community safety officer at Slough Borough Council, and worked towards putting together a clean-up day with JFlex supporting us. Residents came along. We had the RBWM Parks team, myself and colleagues, and some wardens, our community wardens and community wardens from Slough as well. If you go to the next slide, that's just another shot of further along, showing it's a really dire situation. And the next one is during cleanup day, with some colleagues getting to grips with everything that was there. It was crazy. And the next slide, this is we had quite a number of people turned up, including Amazon volunteers which was corporate volunteers from the Slough side, because I think they have a large office locally. We had community wardens, as I said, various other people, and also JFlex helped clear all the, they had a couple of skips there for us to put everything in, it was really a very good experience, and they provided refreshments as well. So Horton Parish Council were all in favour, obviously, and so were Colnbrook Parish Council on the other side of the borough boundary. And this is the outcome, quite a lot. I mean, that's not everything. I think there was a lot of stuff that went into the skip, but it ended up looking very clean, but I don't know what the situation is now, and need to pick it up again with Slough and try and organise a continual clean-up and task force. That's Horton. So then we have the BCA students. We have a volunteer group that work out of BCA. It's about 5 or 6 students who are on their foundation course, and they have a couple of their supervisors go out and work on public rights of way for us, cutting back vegetation and learning how to use the tools. And they also do work in parks. And the next slide is surface improvement works that took place on Bridleway down in Sunningdale, Bridleway 1. And the photo on the left is before, and the photo on the right is after. We didn't really have a very good before photo, but it did used to get very muddy and sort of, and the parish council were very keen to improve the surface. And then the next slide, this was also works that were done last year in around summertime, August time, I think it was completed. This shows Whitmore Lane, and how it's quite a dangerous road with and people are trying to sort of navigate all the wet areas and the highway verge and come across, fast travelling vehicles. So the following slide shows the improvement after the parish council were able to fund. If you move to the next slide, a highway path, a path in the highway margin. So it's still within the highway extents of the adopted highway, but it's an improvement for people safety using what is a really well-used route. I think that is it, but thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for that. One point I'll quickly raise is the Horton part of the thing. Is there any access to CCTV or anything down there to try and find out who's dropping all this rubbish there?
I think that has been something that's been discussed with JFlex, the private company, to see if they can, if they're allowed to put CCTV. And also on the other side of the borough boundary, Slough Community Safety Team have been looking at the possibility of getting cameras at the end of Drift Road. That is where there was a massive pile of fly tip there. But it is a difficult area to deal with, and I think they have other priorities as well at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Yeah, we've got a request to speak from Simon Werner.
Thank you very much indeed. That's really good work. I really love what you're doing in Horton. I really love the use of volunteers. I think that's really forward-looking. Council strapped for cash, using volunteers is a great way to do it, managed obviously by our really effective rights-of-way officers. There's a number of alleyways that obviously have problems in the borough. A local campaigner, George Jezard, was recently talking to me about an alleyway in Sunning Hill between one end of Cheapside Road and the other end of Winkfield Road. And the problem of people thinking it's okay just to drop poo bags at the beginning of the alleyway, at either end of the alleyways. So it is quite a serious problem. Now, about 5 years ago, there used to be a dog bin there, but I'm not sure why, but the previous administration removed the dog bin. Obviously, there's thoughts that, parish councils can step in at this point and help with things like the poo bins, installing a poo bin there. Do we talk to the parishes about that? And the second question also relates to the parishes. I think I might have got this wrong, but did you say in Sunningdale, the parish council actually paid to create a footway? Now that's really interesting approach. I didn't know parishes did that kind of thing. And, there's several, I'm thinking particularly in Bray, where there's problems for Hollypool School. And whether, we talk to the parish about whether they can help with the process of putting a footway along the side of the road. So really it's about those communications between parishes and us with those two examples in mind.
Yes, certainly.
Thanks, Councillor Werner. Well, we do speak to parish councils regarding the public rights of way that they have in their areas. And if they have any suggestions and want to come to us as the Public Rights of Way team, we will try and facilitate them spending their money if they decide that's what they wish to spend it on. With regards to the dog bins, I'm not sure if it's the same path that you're describing in Sunning Hill, but I believe it might be just south of the racecourse land.
Yes, it does.
I think that is a public right of way, and we are in conversations with the racecourse and the parish council because we don't have dog bins on public rights of way because we can't service them. We don't have the budget to get them emptied and that sort of thing. But I have been talking to the parish council, and they may be able to take that role on. And the racecourse may be able to they have suggested that they could pay to have 2 dog bins put in. They just can't service them. So we as the Public Rights Away team can't service the bins, but we can facilitate that going ahead. Hopefully the parish council will come back and say that they can do that.
That's really great, you know, it's council workers. I will let George suggest that, no.
Okay.
Local campaigner there. And the roads, the pavements?
If they're Public Rights Away, we can deal with it. If it turns into an adopted highway situation, we would have to pass that to our highways team. But obviously, if parish councils have a certain amount of money from SIL and they're looking to make improvements, we'd be happy to work with them on Public Rights Away.
Okay, fantastic. That's really useful. Thank you.
Maureen Hunt, next up. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Jackie. That's excellent presentation. I noticed the budget has been reduced this year. Will this affect you? I'm so pleased and we're so grateful to all the volunteers, quite frankly, you know, and a huge thanks to them. I think from all of us, every one of us think that. So a huge thanks to them for everything they do, because without their input, it would be very, very difficult. But has the reduction in the budget caused any problems for you? I've got a couple of questions, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman.
Carry on.
Do you want me to ask them all at once? Okay. With regard to farmers, is there any contingency? Because we're giving them 14 days deadline to clear a public footpath. But what if they're in hospital? What if they're on holiday? How many of the farms have big farms enough to have estate farm managers and everything else? I don't know. Maybe our officer knows, but I'm just asking, is there a contingency? I know we've got a 28-day extension if there is reasons given, but if they're not there, how can they give reasons? So I'm just wondering, what about something like, you know, a read? You can have these things, read me. If you've read the email, it gets signed and comes back to you. I think that would be helpful. Then you know that somebody has read it on the other end and aware there's a 14-day deadline. And also, you mentioned about updates. Certainly, I'd like a request on updates on the parish and certainly for the Waltham St Lawrence and the Knowle Hill parish. There are updates on that I read, which I didn't know. And also, I noticed there was no new publications for parishes this year, the last year. Have you got any planned for this year? That's one of the things you'd like to do, and I'd like to know which parish. Thanks, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Hunt. Okay. So with regards to the budget reduction, what I can say is it's not a very big reduction. It's about £500. I believe.
£500.
Yeah. It's
£500 goes, Mr. Chairman, if I may interject. £500 goes a long way when we are relying on volunteers, you know, who give it for nothing. We could at least give them a cup of tea or 10 cups of tea or whatever, and a cake. But yeah, thank you.
we don't have any capital budget to spend on the Public Rights Away network.
No, I
which we
realise that. I'm
used
just
to
saying, is this
get,
going to have any impact on you? The reduction?
Not really. We're just continuing to work as we do normally, and we will work with what we've got. And if issues come to us which need repair, we will ask our contractors to give us a price, and we try and get prices from several contractors so that we can make sure we get the best value for money.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, it's just working within our means, really. With regards to the farmers' notices for deadlines to clear paths, which are cross-field paths, we don't really have that many of this kind of situation coming up. In my experience, there's only been a couple.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Jackie?
Sorry, there's only been a couple of situations where we've had paths being blocked because farmers have sowed the seed in the path width.
Trying to read your lips and the bottle of water's in the way.
Generally, farmers will come back to us. We don't have any problems, as far as I'm aware, of contacting farmers. They usually have an estate office, and through experience, we have contacts at whichever farm it is.
Excellent news.
And also, so yeah, there's not been any issues in my experience with that. With regards to the leaflets, I'm not aware of us having any leaflets on the go at the moment, but I will ask my colleague to give you an update if we do have any, and if we're aware of any that are needed. So.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman, if I may. I think Eton was mentioned 2 years ago or a year ago, and maybe that's one that hasn't been done, but it would be good to know what ones are being done. And I think what would be good for the members here on this panel is to actually have the leaflets. I've got quite a few at home, but I'm looking here and these ones are being updated, so I need updates. But they are very, very helpful. Tells you, you know, the public rights of way, the numbers, footpath so-and-so, etc., etc. So when you do get updates, can you let me know and I'll call in? Thank you.
Most definitely. We generally rely on parish councils and town councils, as in Eton's case, to come to us to say that they would like to work with us to do a leaflet. We don't have the resource to actually go to them and say, do you want a leaflet? Because we have to try and work within our means. But yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we've got Adam Beaumange next.
Thank you, Clive. Yeah, a couple of questions, probably going back to questions about budget. And you know, obviously, you mentioned in particular there isn't a separate specified capital programme budget, project budget this year, specifically for public rights of way. And yet, yeah, some of the milestone targets that are set out for the current year, would require some kind of capital funding in order to deliver. So, I'm thinking about alternative ways of bringing funding in, because clearly that's what's going to be required. Obviously a big chunk, hopefully, of that could be met through developer contributions as planning permissions come forward, whether that be specific 106 agreements or seal, and I'd be interested to understand whether any particular projects may have been identified that could benefit from those kind of contributions. I think that the Local Access Forum have done some good work on their planning position statements and have actually identified in some of the BLP allocation sites the kinds of improvements they might like to see in terms of rights of way. So I guess that's a good place to start, but I'd be good to understand what might be coming forward potentially. Obviously, central government from time to time might come up with stuff with funding. I noted that there's about around £400,000 in from Active Travel Fund. But I don't know. Maybe you might be able to give some background on that and whether any of that might be eligible, maybe usable by the rights of way team, or whether it's been already allocated and appropriated to other highways projects, etc. But I hope that perhaps there might be some small amount left, and we could certainly lobby for rights of way if that's the case. But one area, and it goes again to the idea of sort of working in partnership. Councillor Hunt, you mentioned about some of the interactions with farmers, but in terms of actually working with the farming community, I did see that there's now within the countryside stewardship grant, there's a type of funding there for access capital items. So actually, it wouldn't be the council securing the funds, but it would be farmers securing the funds from central governments to make access improvements on their land. So I wonder, I guess the question for us as a council is, are we aware of that, and are we working to promote that with agricultural landowners, either directly or through the rural forum, for example? I think that would be really good, because obviously funding is very tight for local authorities, but where there's alternative ways of bringing funding in, I think all avenues ought to be explored. And if we can, using the expertise of the Rights of Way team, can facilitate that, that would be certainly a positive thing. I'll maybe leave my thoughts there for the moment, but if you're able to come back, that'd be great.
Thank you, Councillor Bermange. It's a huge area of trying to keep up with the planning comments that come through to us as a PROW team. Is a task in itself, just keeping up with day-to-day activities, and because there's only 1.5 of us in the PROW team. So that is a situation that we try to go back with sensible comments on any large planning developments, to look at ways where we can access any funding, developer contributions. We did access some contributions for the Woodlands Park Drive development site, where I believe there's going to be about 300 or 400 homes. And so that was to go towards improvements of the rights of way surrounding the site, which are completely surrounding the site, pretty much down in Cox Green. And so we did manage to secure some funding for improvements and additional signage to let people know, because there's going to be a huge influx of, obviously, residents using those paths. I don't think it's enough, but we obviously need to push and make those connections to our planning team to help us kind of to get those improvements done on the network, and for them to see that we do try the best we can. With regards to the active travel, we have recently heard that there is some funding available for improvements on a path in, I think it's crosses the boundary between Cox Green and Hollyport, so Bray would be the parish, I believe, goes across the motorway. And it's also known as Thrift Lane. So it's a bridle way, and obviously the active travel team have the funding to improve the surface, and we're helping them with what type of surface can be used and could be put down. And in terms of, I'm not sure what the funding pot is, but we do work with them when they come to us, because of the linkages between the local walking and cycling infrastructure plan and the rights of way improvement plan. So we're always, and whenever there are any potential transport schemes that are walking and cycling schemes, they bring them to the local access forum for comments to be made. So with regards to the rural forum, that is something that we actually haven't had the chance, or with regards to farmers and potential funding that they could access for public access onto their land. We are always open to looking at proposals that are brought to us, but in terms of us being able to go out there and try and access the funding, it's very difficult in terms of the resource we have. But yes, definitely would be interested in learning more about that. I hope that's...
One point, just on the, and thank you very much for the answer there, it's really comprehensive. But just on the point about, trying to, basically make your voices heard within the planning process as a team, even as a small team. I think that there may be an opportunity to put my planning portfolio hat on for a second, given that there's a new or a refresh of the infrastructure delivery plan, which is the wider plan for what the infrastructure requirements for the whole borough in all different kinds of infrastructure that might be required, but certainly it probably presents an opportunity to, to make rights of way voice heard within that wider process, to make sure that the sort of infrastructure needs when it comes to better rights of way are not forgotten in some of the bigger sites. I'd certainly like to see more money on rights of way and maybe less money on funny roundabouts in the future. But that's I'm sure we all may feel like that. But ultimately, I'm sure there's a pot out there that we could that could be accessed if but it's about making those representations while the work's going on. So hopefully the team's already involved in that. But if not, then certainly advocate for louder voices from rights of way.
Thank you. I think was on there, but you seem to have been switched off now.
Sorry. I'm just thinking, I'm aware of a couple of fairly major bridges, the one at Temple and the one at Black Pots in Datchet, that are missing. Have we got any other sorts of big gaps that are obviously kind of significant projects to reinstate?
Sorry, was it, do we have any other?
Big gaps in the footpath network that need reinstating in that way?
I am not aware of any at the moment off the top of my head, Councillor Coe. I don't know of any, but it's something I can look into. I mean, obviously Black Pots and the bridges that are closed are sort of half, the Temple Bridge is half in the borough and half out the borough. But yes, it's a massive blow for the walking and cycling network, and also Black Pots less so, but still it carries a public right of way, and it's very important that we look at ways to repair. So, but I'm not aware of any others.
Okay, I can see Councillor Larkham wants to come in at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did I hear the word repair Black Pots Bridge? In my opinion, my humble opinion, I don't think it is repairable. It is sagging and about to collapse, would be my best estimate. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution. Yes. Any comment?
I would just like to, I don't know if everyone was on the email trail that was circulated in the last couple of days. And I just would like to read out the situation as it stands. So with regards to Black Pots Footbridge, we've had a timber specialist has carried out a structural survey on the bridge on the 10th of June. We're currently waiting for their report, which we're hoping will include long-term, short-term solutions, and obviously amounts. And we've been advised to close the bridge currently until we can take any further action. And that I've also been told that we can share the report once we receive it. So we can organise that and share the report with this panel. And obviously another meeting can be arranged to update and discuss solutions. That's all I've got at the moment.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Blundell.
So yeah, obviously, after Councillor Coe mentioned touching on Temple Bridge, something that's been an issue literally the month that I joined the council, and Maureen, as a ward councillor as well, was more than aware of it. There's obviously been that £500,000 that's been announced as being split, which is really positive after a few meetings. Just curious from the council side, are there any further updates at the moment? And just curious about how you're potentially working with the EA to find a solution for the issue.
Thanks, councillor Blundell. I don't have any updates at the moment. I know that the Environment Agency have the funding to do some work there, whether or not it includes putting a temporary bridge in on the central span, which is the problematic area. I'm not sure, but I know that they are looking at inviting local councillors and MPs to a site meeting at some point this year. So I will give you an update as soon as I know details.
We're talking about Temple.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
To councillor Blundell with that update. Thank you.
Yes, I don't know if the general public are aware about the Temple Bridge, but it's one of the few accesses across the Thames between Marlow and Henley, I think. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, especially the residents. Ever since May 23, it's been a really big issue, and anyone who lives in the area would use it very commonly. And it's not just residents, it's tourists, it's people who want to be going into further up the river as well. So it doesn't just affect the residents, it affects people coming to the borough. And yeah, from how it looks, it's been 2 years now, just feels like it's going to go on longer and longer and longer, and doesn't seem like there's any real solution at all. It's frustrating, is the word I'd use.
Right, okay, well, thanks for that. Okay, councillor Werner needs to come in here.
Yeah, thank you. I think we should take the opportunity of commending George Blundell on his work on this, on Temple Bridge. He's managed to get the MP Josh Reynolds involved in it, and they've had a number of really useful conversations with the EA, which I think has brought forward some money that's really important. So I just wanted to basically say, well done, George, on your hard work on that. Really appreciated by all the borough.
Okay, thank you very much. It's not an inconsiderable amount, I understand. Yeah.
He's welcome, but through the meetings with the EA, it's not going. From what we can see, it's going to be in the millions.
Oh,
Around, I think that a rough estimate was maybe 3 to 6, something about that. So, whilst very much welcomed, it's not going to fix the issue, basically.
thank you. I mean, I think I walked across that bridge myself. Is that the one which accesses the Temple Lock? Is that the one? It's a separate one, is it? Yeah. Right, okay. Adam, why don't you come here as well?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to pick up a slightly different topic, just something I noted from the overall in the milestone statement, but which isn't really looked into, and that's the fact that the current rights of way management improvement plan actually reaches its 10-year. I can see you smiling. We noticed it reaches its 10-year mark, which is there's a legal duty to every 10 years review and decide whether to amend the improvement plan. Obviously, yeah, that sort of work obviously is not insignificant, I'm sure, but I know that there's already a body of work perhaps that can be leveraged, like the local cycling, walking infrastructure plan that already has some ideas of projects. But yeah, I think it'd be good to understand what the thoughts are of the team in order to what the plan is in terms of a timetable for looking at that and making some kind of progress with an updated improvement plan. Things have moved on a lot. Obviously, in 10 years, there's a lot of sites that were allocated in the BLP, which have now had permission approved. I'm thinking one example local councillors have been advocating for in Cookham is the site AL37, the Lower Mount Farm. This idea that perhaps a really good improvement might be some kind of footpath or multi-access path, which will allow residents there to connect to the schools up in towards Cookham Dean. I think that's, no, it's a fantastic idea, and I'm sure there's plenty of other ideas out there, but obviously, what's actually happening on the ground now is different to to the state in 2016. There's obviously more developments coming forward, and we need to pay to ensure we keep catering for for current residents and find opportunities to make access to the countryside good for new residents that come as well. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts about that. And a part of that, I also noted in the reports in a couple of points, you talk about the important principle of having legally defined public rights of way. Obviously, the definitive map, I think, was last updated in 2015. So again, I'm sure, again, with 1.5 people, it's perfectly understandable why some of these things may not be top priority. That the operational stuff has to come first. I'm sure we'd all agree with that. But I think there is the idea of moving forward and updating that for any kind of diversions or modifications which might have happened in the last getting on for 10 years now would be worth doing. And I think actually it would be an important precursor to any improvement plan, because you need to know what your baseline is that you're working with. I hope you agree with that. So I guess, sort of the two activities, both, not insignificant, but I do know are things that need to, are there that need to happen. I just want to understand realistically what, to sort of manage expectations, I guess, from myself and other members, what is, realistic for the team to be able to achieve on that in the coming year.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Bermange. We are, yes, very well aware that we have two massive pieces of work that need doing. Firstly, the consolidation of the definitive map and statement, which had a relevant date of 2015. I think it was the end of the year 2015. So that is something that we are looking at working out a plan of action on. And there is a legal process to do that. And it is a duty of ours as to keep it up to date every 10 years. So that is one of the priority for us. We do have a working mapping layer showing the whole network, including all the changes that have taken place. So we have the mapping layer there. We just need to do the consolidation work, which is the legal side of it, to actually consolidate the definitive map and statement and look at all if there are any anomalies where we have paths. I know of one where there is a path that looks like it's running through buildings on the map, and we need to look at those and see and make a decision on that sort of situation, whether it's a mapping error or something that we need to do an order for. And also the rights of way improvement plan comes to an end next year, which is something that we need to make, obviously, and we have it on our radar, so to speak, and I'm hoping to draw the local access forum in to help us work on that and decide how to go about reviewing it, because it is a review. As you'll know from the milestone statement and Appendix 7, which shows the list of projects that was suggested from the last time there was a review of the improvement plan, quite a number of those things can come off the list because they've been accomplished, and there are still some which will need to remain on, but we need to know if there are any more, and we need to figure out a way of how to find out through some kind of consultation process. With regards to Cookham Parish Council and the development site in Cookham that you mentioned, I think that kick-started conversations with the Parish Council and the Public Rights Away team and our active travel transport team to look at ways that we can, because they have funding available through that development, the Parish Council, and they are very interested in making improvements for walking and cycling to and from the different primary schools in the area. There is a route called Kennel Lane, which is one that seems to offer the best benefit for the local community, and we're looking at funding. The parish council are looking to be able to fund something there, but it depends what the scope of works will be. It's a difficult hillside route, which is problematic. It acts as a sort of a drain at the moment, in a way. The surface would need to be carefully done, and it depends how much money is available. Hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think we've got Maureen wants to come in again. Thank you.
Sorry about this again. Talking about the list, many years ago, there was about 740 something, I think you'll remember, won't you, Councillor Werner, outstanding issues on the public rights of way, and it get published in the milestone statement. Now, what it didn't say in the milestone statement, it just looked as if we've got all these hundreds of issues outstanding. What it didn't say was there was nothing the council could do about those outstanding issues. So we put them into a cold case file. I suggested actually to me. So those are put into it, and they can be brought out of the cold case file should the need arise or something happen. Have you got any this year that you're looking to put into the cold case file?
Thanks, Councillor Hunt. I'm not aware of any
Okay.
that are going to be put
No,
into a
that's fine.
cold case file, sorry.
Yeah.
I know that obviously the list in Appendix 7 is projects which are meant to be creations or changes to the network to improve things for users. So they would be diversions or extinguishments or creations, as I said. And that would be, so they're sort of changes to the actual network, not improvements to the operational, to the on the ground, the improvements on the ground to the surface and gates and all that kind of thing. So that's what Appendix 7 is. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Werner.
I think I can probably help with that one, because one of those that got put in the cold case file, as I think Anthony Hurst used to call it, was actually, it's on this list for Cookham, it's number 20, route from Mill Lane to Odney Road. It's one that I got on the list in the first place, and I always keep my eye on it because it's one of those that I really want, where it's actually in the main list now. So it looks like they brought all those forward. That,
they look at them all the time.
Yeah.
To see if they can do anything different. But rather than 700 odd being published in the milestone statement, and people thinking or perceiving that nothing. We've got all these hundreds of outstanding issues when there's really nothing. That's why we put them in the cold case file, or they put them in the cold
I
case.
think probably a lot of them would be sorted out, and so now they've got the room to put them actually in the report, because that one was definitely one of those that was, yeah. And that's one, just to let Jackie know, it's one of those that I'm really, really keen on. It's
that means nothing's going to be done, Jackie.
So if ever Odney Club wants any changes on planning, you know, get a path across their land. Get the support of the legal
I think only you and I can see the other side of this.
Right, I think you're up to date now, aren't you?
I think so.
Yep, thank you. Anything else?
Just if we're happy to approve.
Yes, we're happy to approve the milestone statement. I mean, I think it's worth stressing how much we rely on these organisations who do this work for us. You know, a lot of volunteers. We saw the Horton people clearing all that rubbish, and I think, you know, people like the Berkshire BCA, you you know, and people like that do a great amount of work for us. And it's important that we thank them for their efforts. And, you know, East Parks Ramblers, Parks team, you know, it's all grist to the mill. Anyway, so we're all happy to okay the milestone statement for this year. Yep. Thank you. Right, so I think that's pretty well it. Well, we've got the date for the next meeting.
No, so this meeting is an ad hoc meeting. So as Jackie said earlier, if any issues arise, then we'll call a meeting as and when required by the panel.
Thank you. Right, I'll call the meeting to